experience and their vision about why rural tourism, how rural tourism, and what is the roadmap for rural tourism. Because we have very interesting key points on this, like we have to talk about sustainable and community development, which is a very important topic which whole country is now talking about. Then again, we have local culture and traditions. Thus again, India is really known for this culture, traditions. And lastly, we too have to focus on the pride factor, community pride. To take it forward, I would not waste time by again introducing, because Diksha, she has already elaborated very nicely about everybody's introduction. And you all can go to Facebook or LinkedIn. So let's come to topic, and for these four important factors, because time is very limited and we must ensure that we gain or learn something from this session, not just making a discussion. So you all know Mahatma Gandhi said, India lives in villages. And coming to Indian context, more than 70% population live in villages. And coming to Odishan context, I must say more than 80% people live in villages. That's one side of story. The other side of story is, you'll be surprised to know, somebody made a walk, what Mahatma Gandhi did, that Dandi walk, Dandi Jatra. He followed the same trail which was described by Mahatma Gandhi in his Dandi Salt March. He wrote beautiful things about beautiful villages where Gandhi slept and things like that. And this man, gentleman who made this walk, I forgot his name, his conclusion is this: the villages which Mahatma Gandhi mentioned in his Dandi Jatra, I went to those villages, and these villages are now turned to nothing. Neither is a village anymore, nor it is a city. So dear friends, we are losing our villages. Our villages are going in a very different way. Neither is becoming a city nor becoming a village. Here tourism can play a big role to preserve those culture, those pride, those natural heritage, for which the youth in the villages should feel pride and don't leave the villages in search of a job outside. Tourism can fill that gap by creating a sense of pride, by making a sustainable development, because there should be a development, but it has to be sustainable development, and preservation of culture. All these points are very well. Who has curated this program, I don't know, but definitely a very good amount of think tank is involved making this particular topic. So we have some housekeeping rules, like in this session. Every speaker will be given 1 or 2 chances to speak. And then we'll have a house question answer. If somebody asks to that particular, any person, they have to tell. So this is how we like to complete this session on time, because we know there are a couple more sessions to follow. So to start with, it's very honored to have Mr. Khanna, who is the president of Indian Domestic Tour Operators Association. So he commands a couple of thousand of tour operators, travel agents in India, represented them in different forums. So my question to Mr. Khanna, Because so far rural tourism is concerned, normally we have a perception that is for foreign tourists. Foreigners come to see villages. Is it truth or domestic tourists also wanted to go to villages? Please say how the tourism scenario is changing, if changing at all. If there's a demand of domestic travelers coming into seeing the villages, is there is a market? Because we all want to talk whether it is feasible to do rural tourism. Is there is a market? Because everything has to be market driven. If there is no market, whatever pride, culture you think, it not sustain. So it has to be sustainable, it has to be market driven. So my question is, sir, if domestic tourism or as a tour operator dealing with domestic tourists, is there a market for rural tourism?
Hello, can you hear me all? Okay. First of all, let me thank you, Argus News, Saud Saab, Sanjay Saab, for giving this opportunity to sit in this panel and to tell us the importance of domestic tourism. Let me tell you that you have already explained that almost in India, I don't know how many people know, 69% of the people are living in villages out of the total population if you see. And we have almost about 6,48,549, this is the right figure latest by the Ministry of Tourism, villages we have. So mostly people, 70% people, they are staying in villages. We have to understand what is the meaning of rural tourism. Rural tourism means which is outside the city and it is non-urban, that we have to stand, which has got very, very near to the nature and also has a different activities from the cities or from the urban areas. Now, what are the different activities if we really consider? Today, if we really consider the rural tourism and the rural areas are those areas which have a different activities like how many people have seen the bull carts here? How many people have seen how to churn the milk from the buffalo or from the cow? Maybe today if you ask your children, they don't know from where we are getting the milk. They don't know from where they are getting this, the food which has been grown by the villagers. So try to understand, and today with our own Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, under this campaign, he has said that's Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat means that every citizen of the India should be self-reliant. Whether they are in the rural areas, whether they are in the urban areas, wherever it is. But how to make them self-reliant, that's the most important factor. So for that we have to skill them, we have to give them the knowledge. So few factors are here very important, that whether they are ready to do some kind of a empowerment in themselves, whether they want to become the entrepreneurs, whether they want that they should be exposed in the market, their art, culture, craft, which has not been exposed. So these are the factors which are very, very important, and whether they can take the decision to sell their products or they want to share their knowledge. First of all, we have to understand all these things. Now, your question is that how the domestic tourism is important. Today, we have seen that after the COVID, particularly after the COVID, now people are not wanting to go to crowded places. They want to be out of the cities where this is no crowded, and they want to have a different experience in their life. They want to be very, very near to the nature. They want something exclusive. Now, let us see that now. Last week only, I was in one of the sessions in Bhopal, in IHM Bhopal, where we're talking about the responsible food. Do we know that what kind of a food we are taking today? Are these food are good for our health? So we have to educate the people, to educate our, from the root level to our, the children and to the students, that what exactly we are eating is mainly a organic food or not. And thanks to our, again I am saying, our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, that he took this initiative in the United Nations economic section or the economic that 2023 should be celebrated as a millet year. I don't know how many people you know about that. Now we are celebrating a millet year. Millet food we should eat. And countries, they have really agreed upon the Prime Minister's, the proposal. So today it's very important to know that whatever the food we are taking is a very responsible, and whatever we are serving to the country or to the country nation or to the country people, this is really good for our health. We want our hotels to be full, but we do not want to be hospitals to be full. That's very, very important. If we are not taking a responsible food or we are not taking a food which is not good for our health, then there is a road map to the hospitals. This is the reason you people are, everybody is today saying, how many lines, how many people are there in the hospitals? So people want that, they want to go to the nature, they want to go to the villages, and they want to have the different experiences. And domestic tourism, I must tell you that today, lot of people are asking for that areas which are unexplored. The areas which are unexplored and new. Everybody has gone to Shimla, everybody has gone to Nainital or to maybe different places. But have you ever tasted or experienced a tribal tourism? Tribal people, go and sit with them. How do they cook? What they wear? What is their culture? What kind of a festivals? And people are really very much interested to know the new things, the new areas, new destinations. And I am very sure that domestic tourism, as an association, we people are doing very well with the, what are the suggestions we are getting from the Ministry of Tourism to promote the rural tourism. And we are doing that, and we are asking, and we are with the Ministry of Tourism and with the state tourism boards, we are asking the different state tourism boards, please let us know what are the areas where we can really promote your people so that they are not migrated from those rural areas to urban areas. Let them be sticked. Once they will be sticked in their areas, definitely the tourism will flow, and also on the other hand, they will generate a lot of employment for that, and also revenue generation, not for the local peoples, for the states and for the country also. Thank you. I think I have given you answer.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's really, you have given a very clear inspiration that the market exists and people want new experiences and want to discover new places. Everybody doesn't want to go to Simla, Kullu Manali. They also want to go to see how you milk a cow and how you do the things. So definitely there's a market exists. So we should continue this subject further because it is sellable. Now coming back, so I would like to go back to Charu Dekhein, sir. I never met you, sir, personally. I mean, I'm very new, so I'm sorry if I cannot exactly tell much about you, but I read about you that you are a think tank, you are a policymaker, and you are an advisor, and you work for non-profit. So tell me, sir, like Mr. Khana said, that rural tourism is there and it can inspire people and it can really create good employment and stop migration. Because in India is the biggest challenge now migration. A lot of people leaving villages in search of jobs in city. So tell me your thoughts, how tourism can stop, rural tourism can stop these migrations. And uh, is there is a concrete roadmap on this direction?
Hello. Should be on. Hello. Thank you so much. And thanks the organizers, Argus, to have done this under Chalo Dekhein Apna Desh. So in the title lies the answer to your question. Dekhein Apna Desh. First of all, if you ask me, what is the future of rural tourism? The way we are urbanizing, I'm trying to give you a different context. Think about it. The way we are organizing, the definition of rural will change in a few years. So what you are saying about rural, what you are saying about villages today will be hubs and spokes in future. If Panjim is a hub today, then any place, say Bicholi is a spoke. So it will be a hub and spoke. So which means that as our lifestyle changes, we are trying to make our lifestyle changes. As we change our lifestyles, as we try to understand our culture, that is why this title, Chalo Dekhein Apna Desh. Because probably we have not seen our own country. So which means that there are two aspects. One is the lifestyle aspect. So rural will no more be a rural in future, because the way we are progressing, the way we are fast developing in terms of number of people staying in one place, a settlement. Today a city is a settlement of 2 million people, 3 million people. Tomorrow the tier 2 city will be a settlement of 2 million people, when the tier 1, which is today 2 million, would probably be 20 million. That's how we are going from stage 1 to stage 2. In the last 10 years, 10 to 12 years, the number of cities in India have increased. So you have about 36 cities now, and the rest of India is non-city. I will not exactly call them rural, because there is a difference. We are all trying to improve, we are all trying to progress. So being romantic about villages will change its definition in future. So my grandson, my granddaughter might not like to go to a village to do work in mud, but might like to do something else. Now that something else is what these kind of platforms should be able to define. Discussing today, what is my responsibility towards rural tourism? My responsibility towards rural tourism is to tell or to communicate, to exchange, to share the cultural aspects of tourism, the cultural aspects of our own place, the cultural aspects of our lives. If my grandson, my grandchild, or whoever, I might not have a grandchild also, whoever in the next 2-3 generations realizes that if he or she goes beyond Nasik to a place where there is a temple or there is a monument which has not been discovered, but there is a chance to discover, or something has been discovered freshly, then there is an interest, and that is the scope of the rural tourism in future. So that is why, if you see, when we say Atmanirbhar, how does it contribute to Atmanirbhar Bharat? It contributes to Atmanirbhar Bharat because 50 youths of one village understand that in my area or my cluster of villages, these are the 3 or 4 things which I have and I should be proud of. If I am first proud of, then I will take up the business of rural tourism and I will open a bed and breakfast, or I will open a guest house, or I will be careful in doing this business, because there are many other aspects of rural tourism. There are the cultural aspects. We just can't open everything to rural tourism. So, the migration, the question that you asked me, migration has been happening, will be happening for some time, but if entrepreneurship is provided at my doorstep, then my children or my 3 generations later would not like to go, number one. And number two, this village will no more be a village then. So that will also change. So if you're looking at these 2 or 3 changes, in one sentence, migration outflow will definitely be checked to an extent, but there is also another aspect of it, migration inflow. If my village or my district raises its profile in tourism, people from other places will come, people from cities will come and try to take this job, because as of today they are more skilled and there is more capital. For any entrepreneurship, there are 2 or 3 things. Capital, labor is definitely required. So the way we are skilling ourselves, the way we are looking at village development, the way we are progressing the highway connectivity, the waterway connectivity, the airport connectivity, rural tourism in future is going to be a different ball game altogether. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. And it has to change. It's a natural progression. So, what is our responsibility? Why are we talking about this here? We are talking about this here because then what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? We will only give them a bank loan, or we will give them some financing facility and keep quiet? That is not the way. Capital is not the only answer to rural tourism. Rural tourism's major component is culture. If you are coming to my village, you have to behave properly. That is why if you see the newspapers, I don't want to name the state, recently about 2 days ago, there has been a major local uprising against some visiting tourists to a state. Why this is happening? They are unhappy. If I love my place, you have no business to come and spoil my tranquility, my culture. And that is why rural tourism is so important. I can go on, but maybe you would have some other sessions on this. Thank you.
So you talked about responsible tourism in a way, that rural tourism should happen, but it has to be in a responsible manner. Yeah, a few days back I was reading some nice newspaper, some article. It's saying some Calcuttian guy, he used to go every month or twice in a year or thrice in a year to Goa. So people ask him, you were going so frequently to Goa, why don't you buy a house in Goa? He's a very rich man, he could afford to buy. He said, I don't buy a house in Goa because I want Goa to stay like Goa. If everybody come like me from Bengal, from Kashmir, from Delhi, will go and buy houses there, the culture will change of Goa and people will become thing. So same will happen in villages if the investments comes to make tourism, which is not local, which is not real village, like we talk about eco retreat, what they are doing in Odisha. If those kind of drama happens, then whole concept of rural tourism, like the eco-tourism has been spoiled, so that will be spoiled also. So we have to be very careful when we are talking about rural tourism or thinking about rural tourism or going to a rural tourism, as that said. Let's come to a little bit of international forum, because we have with us Dr. Sibasis Giri. He has traveled traveled or worked or experienced more than 72 countries, what he said me. and he's a export or medical export. I don't know technically how to say it, sir, so I'm sorry. But what he said me, he's also a consultant to very famous celebrities like Sabina. You want to come there? Okay, and he said that he has a presentation to give. So let's hear from him about his perception about rural tourism being international.
Thank you, Prakash sir. And I'm glad that I got this opportunity, and I'm very thankful to our honorable President of India. Actually, she was the first one who motivated me when she was governor in Jharkhand. Because when I traveled the US, Brazil, everywhere, I sent the clips, and then she said, you do something for them, what you do for our state and for our country. Then I connected. Finally, I'm happy. So let's go directly jump that the medical benefit of the rural part. Things is going that the beauty of rural tourism is actually it's urgently needed, because rural tourism means waterfall, mountains, the high quality of oxygen. We did a lot of experiment on oxygen. Professor Otto, in German professor, got Nobel Prize in medicines. He explained, if our cells not get enough oxygen, then it's going to the cancer. He got Nobel Prize in medicines. I'm going to present about 7 novel inventions which is directly connected to the rural beauty. You can generate such factors which is urgently needed for your body. And the medical tourism or rural tourism, whatever these things, is a multi-billions market. Like last December, we proposed somebody that we want to opening the Global Epigenetic Center of Health and Wellness in Paris and New York and India and Germany. In the same night, they approved, because it's a multi-billion market. The concept is, for example, we noticed in 2010, we treated some diabetic patients and cancer patients. In the same medicines and same doctors, they don't improve. When you treated in the Swiss mountain on Munich, close to there is a lot of hotels. Actually, they are hotels, and they created a clinic. And people used to stay there. Then 3 weeks, they healed significantly. And then I got surprised. Then when I come to my state, I'm from Moyurbhanj, we have 2 beautiful waterfalls. I have a slides. Can you please open the slides? So we have 2 beautiful waterfall. One is called Osurghati and one is called Uski. Maybe somebody can understand the name of the Uski. Uski like coming automatically. I did a lot of experiment out there. The beauty of waterfall is, if you want to clean your body, the waterfall create a negative air ions. And this is also the one physics scientists discover. When the 2 water particles collide each other in the high altitude, and they're falling down and on the stone, then they release negative air in billions of number. If you stay there 1 hour, you can clean your brain instantly. There is no such medicines in this planet who can clean your brain, blood, everything very quickly. We did experiment. I have slides also there. And then what I did a crazy experiment. Then I selected some brain disorders from the US, from Brazil, all over collected. And I selected the waterfall, including my places. I tell them, okay, make the list of 20 people who have brain disorders and go there and have a party. Spend 3 hours to 4 hours every week, at least 5 days per week. Believe me, 90% of the people, they improve the brain disorder who are used to treat there. The famous neurologists, Deepak Chopra and many people in New York, they are a professional neurologists. We are nothing in front of them. Finally, they come to this concept. Finally, they are sending people to the waterfall. They are sending to the people to the mountains. And they are sending to take a bath in the running water. If you have a pen, look, our body is millions of the pores. When you work with sweets, when you take a bath in a river, The oxygen quality in the dissolved water is different. In the river from the Simripar or in the Ganga, and you take in the shower is different. You feel it. Our body needs oxygen by nose, by skin, everything. So that's why many people keep their body inside the waters, not in the bathrooms, not in the bathtub, not in jacuzzi, not in the swimming pool, in the river. And we check their biochemical profiles, and amazing, the nitric oxide, magic of the stamina, magic of everything that we lost after 25 years. And I created myself nitric oxides by using such habits. Everything I did experiment on myself, and I have a very special teams, boys and girls, around 50 people. I sponsor them, I pay them, and we do experiment. All the sentence I'm telling now is we have evidences. So this is the beauty of rural tourism. 5,000 families in US during Corona time, they try to go to the Mexico village or somewhere. The thing is that they have a family rule. They become a family rule that every member of the family, you have to spend minimum 3 weeks in every 6 months in a rural area. See, this is 2 weeks old video. Amazing. You relax. If you can see what you think, what you see, what you do, that's very important for your health. We are looking medicine in the city. No. We are looking medicine hospital. Doctor hospital at the end moment. They can cut the skin, they can cut your surgery, but think what your body needs. Your body needs oxygen O2. Not when you make a perfume, everybody now is using the in flight also. Some air hostess they make it. We destroy the oxygen, the chemical formula. Everybody know the O2, and they become OO. In OO, create a free radical chemical cancer in our body, and then that's why we feel irritations, easily angry, lot of things we cannot find. I propose to the government in India also. I write a proposals that all new research institute clinics should be in the mountains, should be in the rural area. If they establish, people will go and people will get more benefit over there. Okay, the next slide please, there, because I want to present that how the rural beauty is associated with a novel invention. Next please. Next please. Next, because we have sort of time. Yes. Before please. Yes. Negative air ions, oxygen, autophagy, HIF factor, NO, and deterrent to waters. These 6 inventions are Nobel Prize invention and a huge benefit for the chronic problems. And we have done also that experiment. I told you, many clinicians, they're fed up with in hospital. They are unable to treat in terms of brain disorder, bones, and everything. And they finally, they moved to wellness. They moved to more or less rural. They go to the Mexico, they go to the village part. They love to stay with like village people. They change their mind and they improve. Negative air ions, I told you we need it. You have to spend, that's why in a waterfall. If you have no waterfall, we encourage the government to create a huge waterfall in every part, in spite of establishment of cancer hospitals. And this is the magic molecule negative ion. That's why everybody will feel happy when you spend times in waterfall. And if somebody has a brain disorder, please spend times 3 hours. And this is the solution. You don't need more. Just go there, stay, breathe it as much you can, as much you clean your brain, because brain cell is not easy to clean. Second is oxygen. I told you the 2 Nobel Prize winners in different, like 20 years before and 20 years, the 2 oxygen. If we don't breathe it, then our normal cell going to the cancer. It's true. We have trillions of cells. We have a cell here, we have cell. How we can deliver the oxygen over there? We need to breathe enhanced way, enhanced, like Ramdev Baba or whatever techniques you develop yourself. You need to breathe in the right one, not inside the rooms, not inside the hotel, not inside the air conditions. Go out as much you can. Go out the city, means rural. As I mentioned, in many 5,000 families make a family rules. No, you have to go to rural area 3 weeks in every 6 months. Otherwise, you will not get a holiday money. And in Europe, they respect the holiday. The third, autophagy. This, like with autophagy, everybody know, don't eat anything one day. If you making fast in city and you make a fast in the village, is huge different. We did experiment on that. Because this is like what when we don't eat anything for 48 hours or 36 hours or at least 24 hours, our cells need food. And then you feel hungry, you feel weak. Yeah, let them weak. And then our cell blast. And this blasting is releasing hundreds of regenerative factors. And that's why this Japanese professor got Nobel Prize in 2016. It's autophagy. And make a first in rural area, not in the city, because you don't get, fasting is not well enough. So you need oxygen, you need some other things. So I propose, please spend Apna Desh rural area, wherever you find the good oxygen in village, normal river, put your legs on the running water, stay there more times, think about the small things, look on the stone, look how the stone shape. I found a lot of heart-shaped stone. Believe me, heart-shaped, switch-shaped, it naturally shaped. Finally, it's useful in rural area only. HIV factor, it's 2019 got Nobel. It's related to the oxygen also. And we work a lot on that. So what we do, if we spend a lot of times climbing, bicycling, where the oxygen quality is good, then your body is adapt. We have adapt technology in our body. In sometimes in corona, in any surgery, in anything, fighting cancer cells, fighting anything, then you need this. And when you do this, it develops this HIV factor. If you adapt in HIF factors, like 70% of disease will go away. And now deuterium, just 1 second, 30 seconds. Deuterium fluoride water, it means the light water. It's mineral water you drinking, it going the plastics, and we don't know in summer it's coming from the sun, and 35, 40 degrees release, we eat everyday plastic. And if you drink, I know that some people believe, I was dancing with those people, they used to drink water from the river. I also did experiment on me. I drink a lot. My mother was afraid. I drink water on the special part of the river in Simripal. And I'm very healthy, I feel happy, and I test my urine also. So I have a lot of slides, unfortunately deficient of time, I could not share. But I think we make some ongoing interview on our channel. Thankful for the Prakash, and you will get all my 22-year experience about over 72 countries. I will be happy to share. And please spend time in rural area. Make a compulsory rule yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gary. I mean, there's a very beautiful tagline on Argus, Satyara Sandhana. So, this rural tourism, as Dr. Gary said, if you're really looking for truth, wellness, say Satyara Sandhan Pai, I would request all of you to at least go to villages nearby you. How many of you been to Koraput? How many of you been to Koraput? How many of you have ever taken a bath in waterfall, like Sir said? Well, I'll be a little bit selfish to take this opportunity to introduce. I run a very beautiful camp in the tribal area Koraput, Desia, near Duduma waterfall. So you come to there, take a bath in waterfall. We give you 50% discount if you say, I come from Argus, Chalo Dekhein Apna Desh. This is the code, Chalo Dekhein Apna Desh code. Anybody comes and tell us that I am from Argus, Chalo Dekhein Apna Desh, then you get 50% off to take a bath in waterfall. So I'm selling myself, but for yourself. Thank you. So lastly, I would request, because hardly we have 5 minutes left, we'll take 2-3 questions. But before that, I would like to conclude with you, all of you, to tell in, say, 1 sentence or maximum 2 sentences, how do you want to see rural tourism as it is, which will bring or create a sense of pride? Uh, how, what do you mean by how can we create a sense of pride among the locals through rural tourism?
Yes, very important. That's how can we pride? We are already pride with such a good population, big population in the villages, and with the involvement of the skill management, lot of institutions are working on the skill managements in the rural areas, and now there is an awareness in the masses that we have to be very skilled, professional, and whatever we are serving to any tourist or to any person who is visiting their villages is going with satisfaction. Whether it's a part of the destination, seeing the attractions, the services, the foods, or the transportation system and the infrastructure. So everything has been involved. It's a package basically, that we have to create a package where we really serve everything in such a professional way, and the people, those who are visiting that place, really say, wow, this is a rural tourism, this is the best thing, and chalo, let's see, chalo dekhein apna desh in rural areas, rural India. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, like Sir said, we have to produce in a very good package like wow. Is there a skill available with the locals to present rural India in a right way to the tourist, where tourists can say, wow. Are we doing something to create that skill in the villages?
Are we doing something for the skill?
Yeah.
Even before that, I'll step back and say that the sense of, this skill will come from a sense of pride. The first thing that we should do is engage the youth. So every district has so many colleges. Please ask the youths and the college heads of the departments, or particularly art, history, fine arts, to take the students on small visits to the entire district or the villages first. Let them first know that this exists. From this, let's not keep skilling to a jargon, number one. Number two, another policy that we should take, all of us, civil society should take, is where to limit urbanization. If you don't limit, as we are talking, some of the states, including this, has already lost about 10 lakh hectares of land, agriculture land, to concrete building. Now, if this trend starts, if this is, so what happens is, if in my village, I am happy to give my land to a multi-floor building, then I'll never value my culture. I'll never value tourism. I'll never value rural tourism as an entrepreneurship for me. So to do that, let's first limit what is urbanization. How far can you go? Let's have a policy on that, and that is doable. That is, unless we protect that area, unless there is a self-esteem in rural tourism entrepreneurship, then comes skilling. Once we start this, we get engaged, then we have the skilling, then we do demand generation, then people will go and say, wow. But when will people go and say, wow? As you said, when we have a good infrastructure, good system, good demography, all these things are there. I'm not getting into the theory part of it. I'm being very practical on this. You are operating in Koraput. How much of Koraput is left today? Ask honestly to yourself. All of us should ask to ourselves. And please don't call that as tribal tourism. It's my request, personal request. Call it at indigenous community. By calling them tribals, you're further segregating them and discriminating them. So these things need to be taken into account. It's a deeper thought that I would leave this whole place with.
Very well said, sir. And Dr. Giri, please tell the audience what the first thing they should do when they go to a rural tourism area.
As a scientist, I would like to mention that your health depends on what you think, what you breathe, what you eat, and how your surrounding. This is very, very important, and so many of these things, mentioned 7 things. You have to give some times every day. I wrote a book. It will be inaugurated in December in Los Angeles. I never think that I will be the like healthcare advisor for international celebrities because they healed their body because of simple concept. I request to all of you, our body is amazing. I compare in wrote my book is amazing than the rocket. You feel like a flying machine. You feel like you can do everything. Now everybody feeling tired. Clean your body. Rest of things body can do. In rural area, when you go rural area, you feel it. In still now, whatever I do research, I write in Odia language. And first, I explain myself in my local language. Then I go to teach. In 17 years of experience in Leipzig University, in Munich, I got Best Teacher Award, speaking to the medical student, to MBBS student. If they don't understand. My point is that a language also, we don't understand, then we need use a local language, use the local rural area as a negative areas, go there, think. Somebody say, oh, you're boring. People encourage it. It's boring. It's the same river in the mountain and the same peoples. No, go spend time with them. I go there. I was dancing with them. It's spending 5,000. Then they collect everything. Then they can make. Last time is when you go to Simripal, you can go. You can look dhania patta. That use dhania patta we eating. This is GMO. This is not natural. And you can find it. You can smell it. The monkey are eating there. I took this dhania in Germany. So a lot of beauty there. Look, I told now this dhania I collected from the Simrivar forest and smell it still in my brain. Whenever I think, it gives me pleasure. That change of the biochemical composition of my brain is changed for a moment, and that's needed. That's why when you help honestly to some people, when you think you get a pleasure. And this is a permanent pleasure you need for your health. I request you, rural is the real beauty, believe me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so please spend time in the rural area.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So we take two questions because we are left with 2 minutes. Okay, you have to tell that name to whom, to introduce yourself and also tell the question to whom it's addressed. Mike, please. Very specific because we have very limited time. Yeah, you are.
Question is to moderator or any of the panelists. Sir, rural tourism exists. Rural tourism exists as long as we have rural areas. As the other panelists deliberated, that rural-urban divide is shrinking, line is becoming thinner, gap is narrowing. Hypothetically, today or tomorrow, we may not have any rural areas left. Conference hall. Few decades ago, these were farmlands. So you can imagine, so in your opinion or the panel's opinion, how long we will have rural areas as such in India?
Well, that's what sir also tell. His question is,
See, it all depends on the sustainability we do, and this is the involvement of the locals as well as the state governments, as well as all the tour operators, the travel agents, those who are sending for the rural tourism to the tourists there. So now how long it will stay, nobody can say. Yes, only it can stay when we are aware about that these are the rural regions, we have to sanitize them. Sustainability is very, very important. Without sustainability, nothing will happen. Like you said that there are a lot of buildings are now constructing there in that particular area. We have to stop that. We have to have our own recognition that we are the country with a 70% rural areas which are really doing well, which I said, wow, they are the people with their old culture, with a old heritage. We have to maintain all the culture, heritage, art, craft. And we have, let me tell you one example, we have a women empowerment team in our association. All these women empowerment, those who are involved in the women empowerment, they go to the small, small villages and they bring all this, the art and craft of those women, those who are really hidden in the villages and in their cottages. They are doing a lot of, the work on the art. So we are bringing them then, but let them be stay there. It is not like that we have to tell them to, आप जहाँ जाके एक शॉप ले लो जी एक मार्केट में आपका 100 रुपए का सामान 500 में बिकेगा. No, we are not doing that. We are saying that you stay here, and but you have the marketing will do for you without any charges. This is the social work we are doing. So we have to sustain that. If we are not sustaining that, फिर तो कोई इसका जवाब ही नहीं है. Thank you.
Answering your question, I have a very simple answer. Rural tourism will exist as long as you want it to be. As long as you want it to be. I'll tell you why. Rural tourism's life is its originality. Rural tourism has to be rooted. It has to be away from everything that spoils your lifestyle, because that's the future of rural tourism. So that's why I mentioned that there will be no, maybe in X number of years, there will be no rural. So it will be more or less called by some other name, maybe health, maybe lifestyle. So a hub and a spoke, that's how economic development and GDP is integrated into our lifestyles. Today we are sitting on a very dangerous situation in non-communicable diseases, which is hypertension, diabetes, blood pressure. Everything is related to this. Now, if we are sitting, particularly India, if we are sitting on this and we are looking at a double-digit GDP growth, where will it come from? We need energy, we need good health. Where will it come from if we spend more time in nature? Where will it come from if there is nature? How will nature be there if urbanization doesn't creep? It doesn't creep actually, it doesn't invade. If we don't allow urbanization to invade, then we can have our territories. Otherwise, it will be a problem.
Sir, good afternoon, all the dignitaries present here. Sir, I have a question, sir, on this rural tourism. Developing rural tourism and the economics associated to it. If we talk about our state, the Odisha, like sir was telling about Koraput. If I'm not wrong, the highest mountain peak, Devmali, is there situated in Koraput. If I go with my family to stay there for, let's say, for another 7 days, where do I stay? मैं कहाँ पे रहूँगा?
Well, there is a Deshiya now in Devali also.
If we consider Daringbadi as Simla, no, Odisha, then where do I, if I go?
Your question is there is lack of infrastructure.
Exactly. So if we talk about the culture and heritage, Odisha is rich in culture and heritage. We are promoting culture and heritage. But if I go there, there is absolutely nothing there to stay over.
You see, sir, I answer your question. Infrastructure has to be created by entrepreneurs. So, for example, you have to buy a bullock first or a bullock cart first.
See, if I am not wrong, Genting is far away from Malaysia city, and it is well developed on a top, Genting Island. If you see, there is a big ropeway, there is a huge market. The entrepreneur has invested money over there to build the area as a Genting Island, which is very popular. And we have those places in the state whose responsibility is to grow it up so that we will be reaching there.
So why don't you invest?
I do not have. Oh, sir, what is the, what is there to give the mortgage, sir?
See, sorry to intervene in between. See, you are talking about the Genting, which is an urban area. It is not, we are talking here the rural areas. Yes, let me finish. You are saying, where do you stay? Now, in the rural areas, we are also promoting the homestays. And it is very, very important that there are a lot of homestays which have been promoted nowadays. And we as an association are promoting homestays to tell them to please bring all the data so that we can put on our website and it can be promoted. So if homestays are there, you can stay. It is not necessary that you need a hotel. We need a different, which is near to the nature, which is different from the cities. It is out of the cities. So that exactly is my answer, that homestays are there, and you should promote homestays where you will have a good food also, like the home food also. So that is the best thing, and you will be interacting with the family and you will understand their culture also. Thank you.
Yeah, you rightly said there is a lack of infrastructure properly. I agree about it. But for that, it needs time. Like things are coming up. Like in Koraput, 20 years back, there was only one or two hotels. Now there are 20 hotels. So things are coming. So more entrepreneur has to come. More government infrastructure has to be created. So things will come. But one important thing, I must also agree. I'm convinced rather, I must say, the government has to take a lead. Electricity, road, internet, these private people cannot do. So which is very lacking in our state. The vision is somewhere else, all in mining or hockey or this and that. The rural tourism is not getting that focus, I must tell very boldly. Yeah, sure.
Just quickly, one more point. I don't know what's your background. If your background is journalism, if you're a writer or a journalist, I really appreciate your question. It's a chicken and egg story. What Mr. Khanna mentioned, and he stopped, he didn't go further, is that in many states, the homestay is managed by self-help groups. So the day is not far off when a group of women or group of youths will manage this. But we need to have patience till then. What was not there 10 years ago is now there. So again, things would be. But why I asked about your background is, if you are active in social media, please raise this issue.
I just give me 10 seconds. I think I like your point. And as I travel a lot of country, and people like it actually. If you can increase boosting, we need such platform where they can, international peoples, Indian people or international people, we need to make such like Oranya Bhavan there. It's huge. Foreign people are going a lot. My friends are coming in every 2-3 months, and they're fully booked every time. We make such tiny platforms, and then it will be
So
it
I'm
will be big
sorry, I've been
investment,
getting
good
indication
investment.
to wind it up. Sir,
Only one question.
okay.
Adding to his question is infrastructure, community, then the communication facility, and about this, what Charudatta has, Paningre has told. Koraput, leave about Koraput also, even Ganjam, Gajapati, Mohana, this Kandhamal area, they are having lot of waterfalls, but they are underdeveloped. What you say is, when the government is trying to increase the number of offshores everywhere, but he is totally unaware of these waterfalls or this beauty. They are totally forgetting who is, most of the time, these people who are in the now present government, they are on
Well,
only organizational activity.
I hope
Nothing.
Argus will take it forward
Okay.
to reach to the right people in the right way. So with this, I'd like to conclude this session with a thought for everybody. Either you be an investor or travel yourself as a responsible traveler to the rural tourism, promote those homestays, promote those places, and be responsible to the nature, culture, and create employment in rural India. Thanking you all. I thank also we have very eminent guest setting, like somebody walked all the way, both the sides of Mahanadi, like Dheer Bhai, who traveled all the way in the in a Calcutta to Puri in a bullock cart. I have Rama Bhai from Sakhi Gopal. He is also very much involved in the community building through rural area, rural works. And many Timir Bhai, who is a veteran, Talukdar Sir, Devu Bhai, Tripathi Sir, who is also, I can say, gurus of gurus in this industry. I'm very thankful for all of you. If I cannot take the name personally, so it's very pleasure, and I'm very thankful to August for taking this step as a rural tourism to create a buzz about rural tourism. And thank you, beautiful audience. Thank you all the speakers, because I'm sorry I had to cut your times because we have to go by time. But it's very interesting. We could take this discussion forward. And special thank to Dekhein for wonderful introductions and anchoring. Thank you very much.
All right, that was indeed a very wonderful discussion, and thank you audience, you've been very engaging. Thank you for asking those questions and making it even more interesting. But we'll of course like to thank them formally by presenting mementos. So could I request Mr. Sahil Chopra, Head Operation and Sales, Argus News, to please join us here on dais and present mementos as token of love and appreciation from the Argus family. We are hoping this interaction and engagement will continue for the next 2 sessions as well, before we move into the valedictory session at the end. And there's also a cultural extravaganza in the evening, so we'll request everybody to stay put till then. And of course, the group photograph. Thank you to our eminent panelists, our moderator. Thank you so much for that wonderful discussion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we move on, first again by thanking our partner states, Goa Tourism Development Corporation, Assam Tourism Development Corporation, Gujarat Tourism Development Corporation, Maharashtra Tourism Development Corporation, Jammu and Kashmir Tourism Development Corporation, Uttarakhand Tourism Development Corporation, Puducherry Tourism Development Corporation, and of course, the Ministry of Tourism, Incredible India. We would also again take this opportunity to thank our venue partner, Crystal Crown, and travel partner, Sand Pebbles. So, yes, we are now geared up for our next session. This is based on a focused approach on rural tourism circuits and its marketing through promotion of localized attraction, experiences, adventure sports, and art and crafts. So again, a very interesting and engaging topic. And let me tell you, we have a fantastic panel and a moderator for this session. So without delaying this any further, I'll invite them onto the stage, of course, with a huge round of applause from all of you. So please welcome on stage Dr. R.K. Patnaik, OTS, TDM, Belgium, Assistant Director, Retired Department of Tourism, Government of Odisha, Mr. Gagan Sarangi, Chairman, Odisha Chapter, Indian Association of Tour Operators, Mr. Deen Dayal Swai, Professor, Head and Dean, Faculty of Management Studies, Shishi University. And yes, our moderator for this session, who has already been, I think a lot of our speakers have been talking about him since morning, Mr. Debashish Patnaik.